What is going on, homie dudes? It is Creamy and Brownies. Welcome to another video. Today we are not doing an unboxing review, but like I said in the last video, we're going to be talking about some stuff with blaster electronics. Now, for those of you that don't already know, there are technically three different types of Nerf blasters. There are electric, there's Springer, and then there is air. There's like two air-powered blasters in existence, and then there is electric, which we will be talking about today, and then Springer, which is the most standard form of Nerf blasters. The reason why I'm making this video today is because I had two people comment and ask me some questions about some electronics, especially about these two blasters. One with my Super Khaos right here, and one with my Stryfe modification with a worker kit. The first question we are actually going to do about the Stryfe, we are going to get into this a little bit later, but we are going to start off with the Stryfe. This question comes in from Flying Dude the Super. I will show his comment down below. He says, what would happen if you didn't rewire the kit to a Lipo, but you did with the flywheels? Like I'm showing right now, you can see a little bit of some conversation that we had, and after a little bit of talking to each other, I figured out what he was actually asking. He was wondering if I'm getting this right. Flying Dude the Super, if you're watching, please comment if I am correct or not, and I will fix this in a later video. But he was wondering what would happen if I put the flywheels on a Lipo battery and left the worker pusher kit on a regular 4 AA battery circuit. The common standard answer is everything would still be electric. It's just the flywheels would be much faster. If we plug this Lipo in right here and I turn the wheels on, we get a pretty solid sound. But if it was just the Lipo straight wire from flywheel to trigger back to battery, then the flywheels would be going even faster. Is it much faster? Not quite. However, if we flip it over and we have the worker kit, if we were to hook this back up to a 4 AA batteries wired in series is what I think it is, and you were to pull the firing trigger, the firing trigger would not be that fast, as this is pumping in 11 volts, 22,000 milliamps of hour, and this is like 9 volts with like 1100 milliamps of hour or power, something like that. I can't remember. I had the math all done, but I cannot remember 100%. So that was the basic question about the Stryfe. We are now going to go over the question of the Khaos, and then I am going to visually show you everything that is going to be done. I will have links in the description box down below if you want to skip ahead to show the Stryfe modifying or to show the Khaos. The second question comes in from my Ultimate Khaos mod with the 20 to 25 balls per second. Altitudes asked, do you need to buy extra switches so the ones already in the Khaos don't burn out? The easy answer to this question, I was a little confused to what he was asking in the beginning, but the simple question asked is, do you need to replace the switches? I personally like to replace the switches in blaster modifications with electronics and stuff, because personally I can know how much power I am putting into a blaster, how much is going to the switches and stuff like that, because I've done a little bit of some electrical work with school. Basic question, should you replace the switches and wiring in the Khaos when I did the modification? The answer is yes. We had a little bit of a conversation, like I said, and I just told him some stuff, and I asked him if he would like me to make a video about it, and this is the video for you, Altitudes. Hopefully I am pronouncing your name correctly. Special thanks to Flying Dude the Super and Altitudes for sending in your questions, and now here is your answer. First, we are going to start with Flying Dude the Super's Stryfe, as you have been waiting quite a while, and I would like to apologize for this. I have been hectically busy with school and work and stuff like that, and making more content for you all, and I was waiting for something else to pop up, and literally something else did pop up, and it was a second electrical question for blasters. So I thought, you know what, why the heck not make a video, because I've got more than one person asking about stuff like this. Starting with the Stryfe, we're going to butterfly this sucker open, as Lord Draconical will say. And then I will talk a little bit more after I have it open. I apologize if anything changes in frame greatly, because this table is literally on a stand and they are not correlated or directly linked as you might think that they are, and I also don't really know where the camera frame is because I sat, whatever. Anyway, continuing on, we now have our Stryfe open, and Flying Dude the Super, I'm actually going to go to your stuff so that I make sure that I get everything correctly. So now that we've got our blaster open, I've just taken off the front barrel, the mag door cage. I have disconnected the pusher and the flywheel motors. One of the things, while I'm looking over your comment, one of the comments that you put when we were having our conversation is, thanks, that's helpful, but what I wanted to know is what would happen if you left the kit running off of the original power supply that came with the worker kit and ran the flywheels to the Lipo. My worker kit did not come with a power supply. I bought it without a power supply, so it was like 10 bucks or something. But if you purchase one with a power supply, or if they have upgraded it, then this will basically be the exact same thing, only I'm going to be using a 4AA substitute, or I'm going to use, it was either a C or D battery converter that I made. It's just a little power supply, and I will be running this off of that. It will pump the same flow as 4AA batteries, but I will still be running these off of a Lipo. What you are mainly going to need in this modification is soldering iron and some solder, and yeah, but I personally have my own little way of wiring blasters. If you do not like the way that I do it, you can do it your way. You can figure out your stuff. I have figured out that I don't really like the way that most YouTubers do their stuff. But honestly, this is your project, and one of the things that I really like to say is, this is your project, this is your dream, this is your idea. I don't want to tell you what to do. I'm just here to give tips and help guide you in the right direction. Some people might be looking at me wondering what the heck you are doing with your flywheel right now. What I'm doing is I'm actually scraping Nerf dart off of it. Nerf dart heads and actual Nerf dart bits and stuff like that. Because when you play around and you feed a couple hundred to maybe 1,000 or so rounds through this, then it starts to eat up the darts. And that, if you can see it, that is literally Nerf dart. That's solid Nerf dart. And I've just cleaned off both of these wheels, so they're nice and clean. But what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to take everything out. We're gonna rewire it all. I'm going to give a little bit of some explanation of how to rewire it all, and then we are going to head over to the Khaos. So this all might be a little bit of a mess right now, but to me it is all organized, which I actually have a pattern, and there really is something that is set up, and I know how everything functions. So this is going to be the same thing for the Super Khaos, as both of you had a question with the switches and wire. All of the wire that I use is just 16 gauge wire. You can use 14 gauge wire. I just got this from Home Depot. This is what I use to mark negatives, sorry. Negative is always black for me, and red is always positive. And then these are the switches. Can't remember where I purchased them. I actually believe that I got this pack for as a Christmas gift, but I honestly cannot remember what they are called. I believe I told one of you But this is what it looks like, and if you can't get a clear picture of that, then I will just make sure to put a decent picture of it in post, so that you can see what you were looking for, and I will also leave links to everything that both of you have questions for in the description box down below, for that of which I can find. So for the whatever this one is called, the one that I put, the Stryfe, sorry. So whatever the Stryfe I'm doing with, that sentence just made no sense. So what I'm gonna be doing with the Stryfe is, it is not gonna be 100% put back together, as I am just showing the basic electronic configuration, and oh, that hurt. Yeah, that's another thing about modding, is you're gonna get hurt. You're gonna punch a lot of things when you're forcing stuff, but ow, okay. So when I put this all back together, it's not really all going to be in place. It is going to be so that it can work, but we're gonna have most of the wires hanging out of the side, just open and easy to access, but yeah. So let's just get to rewiring stuff. All of it is basic. Back to time lapse. So I woke up and I've been editing, and I realized that half of the time my mic cord, it was actually wrapped around this, even though you can't really see it in the frame. It was wrapped around this, so it was making a very distorted buzz sound. Don't really know why, but I've been thinking a little bit about these. This I will give a firing demonstration as well as the pusher motor rate, but there's not a whole lot to talk about this actually, but I will still talk about this. Going back to the Stryfes. Flying Dude the Super, if I can remember correctly, you were asking flywheels to Lipo and pusher to battery. This puts out the same amount of power as 4 AA batteries, but this is just kind of what it sounds like with the firing rate. And that is, I don't have any of the triggers in. I just did this so that it'll be easier and faster to wire up. But obviously you would wire up the triggers correctly. I need a new Stryfe body because this one is beat up and everything, because I've done it through so many modifications. But this is just a basic test of it, just to show you how everything goes. So as you can tell, firing rate is not quite as fast, but I will set up my camera and I will show kind of like a more distance test shooting over here, firing the Stryfe distance. So the first few shots were because of me, because I was just trying to figure out how to hold this. That was the Stryfe, relatively straight in direction, but now I'm going to be talking about the Khaos. The Khaos, being 100% honest, there isn't really much to talk about, as the main question was what switches do you use and what wire do you use. I use these switches right here. I can't remember what they were called. I believe I said that earlier, but I will leave a link in the description box down below where you can find some of these. And then this, like I earlier stated, just find it from Home Depot, 16 gauge wire, you can get it anywhere. And then I just have a solderer and some soldering iron is what I believe it is. This is a soldering iron, this is solder. And that's just what I use to help connect this to the battery source to the switches. I just have 2 switches in here, one for the front trigger and one for the back trigger, the rev trigger and the fire trigger. This is a 3 motor runner, like I earlier said. You've got the pusher motor in here, which has the conveyor belt, which feeds the balls into the flywheels and launches it out. We've got a PWM in here. I believe a link to that in the description box down below. I have a second one of these blasters, and after I finish the Nerf War series, which I am working on right now, heavy pre-production still. Part 7 is mostly done. Part 8 has some of it done to it. Part 9 we haven't even started yet. Then part 10 we're about halfway done. I think I'm just going to do a compilation where I just slam them all together, but I don't know yet. But after I finish the Nerf War series, I'm going to take my second one, and I'm going to give it the same modification, only I might do some things a little bit different and make it even better. But I really love this, so we're going to end this video on this note, literally, because I love the noise that this blaster makes. It just makes such a good noise. So if you liked what you saw, be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below what you want to see next, share with your friends, and you guys that I made this video for, please comment to make sure that I got what you were asking right or wrong. Check out the last video here, subscribe here, and we'll see you all next time.